ඔෆිස් එකේදී විතරක් නෙවෙයි මම දැන් ගෙදරදීත් IDD calls ගන්න SLT phone එකේ.
ඔබේ නිවසේ SLT දුරකථනය දැන් IDD පහසුකම සහිතයි.
Making headlines on First at 9. Think again. President Maithripala Sirisena rubbishes speculation and declares he does not intend to retire in 2020. Making a stand. Joint opposition works off its May Day rally in Galle with the JVP sticking to Colombo. Black mark. Election monitoring body sounds the alarm on country's ability to attract foreign investments.
If we cannot manage these sort of corruption, we don't think foreign direct investments will come to Sri Lanka.
Rubber woes. Minister Navin Dissanayake laments lack of attention on small-scale rubber producers.
Bottom of the value pyramid must be our main focus.
Another term. Vladimir Putin takes oath as the president of Russia as he begins a fourth term in office. A very good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Katharina Chang. Responding to rumours regarding his future political plans, President Maithripala Sirisena today emphasised that he will not retire from the political arena in 2020. Addressing the official May Day rally of the UPFA today, President revealed that much work still needs to be done before his retirement. The main May Day rally of the UPFA was held under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena at the Chinkaladi grounds in Batiklo at 2 p.m. It was held under the theme Labour Strength for the National Unity.
மக்கள் சார்பில் தேசிய ஒற்றுமைக்கு தொழிலாளர் பலத்தை கிழக்கிழங்கை கொண்டு வந்தவர்கள் அனைவர்கள் சார்பாகவும்.
Meanwhile, only parliamentarians SB Dissanayake and Sumedha G. Jayasena stepped onto the stage, whereas few other members of the group of 16 who left their ministerial positions recently did not.
We're all happy because building peace among all communities in the country was a dream that was visioned by all leaders who headed the party. We witnessed that it has become a reality during the tenure of President Maithripala Sirisena as the chairman of the party.
Deputy Speaker Tilanga Sumitipala, parliamentarians Dasri Jayasekara and Dilan Pereira were few who were present at the rally today but did not step onto the stage.
අද ලක්ෂණ අපවැදනතුමාගේ වෙඩින් එක. ඉතින් අපිට වයිරෝඩ් යන්න ගියොත් එහෙම පැය 5ක් යනවා. එතකොට එස්.බී. දිසානායක මහත්මයා දුවා අපේ පක්ෂ බණ්ඩාගාරික. එතකොට මේ ඉවත් වූ 16 දෙනාගේ ජම් කණ්ඩායමක් අපි දැක්ක මාර්ගයේ මේ පැතිරුණා වේදිකාවට නැගිටින්න එස්.බී. මහත්මයා ඉන්නවා. ප්‍රශ්න කරගන්න එපා වේදිකාවට නැගින්න නැතුව අපි ගොඩාක් තැන්වල ඉඳලා තියෙනවා. මේ පළවෙනි එක නෙමෙයි. ආරාධනාවක් ලැබුණේ නැද්ද? නෑ නෑ ආරාධනාවක් ලැබුණා ඔක්කොම කරා ජනාධිපතිතුමාත් දෙක කතා කරා. කිසි ගැටලුවක් නෑ. පක්ෂෙත් එක්ක ඉන්න බය වෙන්න එපා.
Several ministers and parliamentarians of the UPFA then expressed their views.
Over 100,000 people came to Batiklo today seeking an SLFP government. I would take this opportunity to say that we won't work against the UNP or the Flowerbud Party. We won't form an alliance with the UNP to give them power after the election in 2020. We're going to listen to your requests which demand for a SLFP government under the leadership of President Maithripala Sirisena. President, I make the promise that with the support of all the workers and labourers of this country, we will give you the support you need to continue until 2025. You protected this country all these years. Hail all the workers and the SLFP.
Jai Veva, Sri Lanka Nidahas Paksheta, Jai Veva.
Sri Lanka Nidahas Paksheta.
This May Day rally has been organised as another special event to face the challenges against the SLFP. This rally is proof which shows that the party can move forward as a strong political force in this country. We shouldn't deceive people for power. Some ask me whether I will retire in 2020. Even social media sites talk about how I would retire in 2020. But I won't because there's much to do. We need a political program, but we don't want any political thieves to be a part of it. Some from our party itself are talking about it. We need to understand how politics work in this country. Everyone knows who the corrupt are. Although some say that we have weakened, I would like to say that we are not. There were times when the SLFP only secured 7 seats in Parliament and when it was divided. We will introduce a new structuring process for the party. We will also make it a people's party, which follows central democratic principles. We hope to launch a strong political campaign through a new restructuring process. On this May Day, I pledge to work for the working class. I hail all of you.
පරිත්‍යාගශීලව ඉෂ්ට කරන බව ප්‍රකාශ කරමින් ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම ජය වේවා ජය වේවා ජය වේවා කියලා මම ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
Meanwhile, the May Day rally of the joint opposition headed by the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Perumuna was held in Galle today. The rally was held under the auspices of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The May Day rally by the joint opposition headed by the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Perumuna commenced at 3 this afternoon from the Galle entrance of Southern Expressway and Mahamodara. The rally was held under the theme Against the Tax Burden, Treachery, Treasury Bond Fraud and Selling of National Resources. Joint opposition trade unions as well as several other unions walked along the Galle-Colombo and Mathura-Colombo main roads, making their way to Samala ground in Galle. Political parties and representatives from Sri Lanka Podu Jana Perumuna, National Freedom Front, Pivituru Hela Urumaya, Democratic Left Front, Lanka Samasamaja Party as well as the Sri Lanka Communist Party were present during the rally. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa received a warm welcome by the public at the May Day rally.
UNP leaders at the Sugadasa Stadium yesterday said they will give concessions for fertilizer like before, as well as uniforms. They said they will transform the Hambantota harbour as the centre for naval activities. The port city is being developed and they said that the construction of the Kandy Expressway will be concluded soon. So what did this party try to say at the Sugadasa Stadium yesterday? They are trying to imply that the path they wish to tread is the very same path taken by Mahinda Rajapaksa. As the country is heading into a future where all hope is lost, a new government with the people's mandate will dissolve this expired parliament. Under the leadership of Mahinda Rajapaksa, we will establish a new parliament for the people by emerging victorious at the parliamentary elections. President Sirisena made a statement in Batticaloa that he will not retire in 2020. He does not have to talk about retirement because the people have already sent him into retirement. I remember the May Day rally held last year on the 1st of May. You may remember the crowd which it accumulated and was billed the largest gathering ever recorded in history at the Goldface Green. That was the May Day where we made sure that the government knelt. Today we will make them crawl on all fours. But in fact, this cabinet was formed by having the lottery board under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That is your scientific method. Then they took the central bank away from the Ministry of Finance and placed it under the Prime Minister. This is how this scientific method led to the central bank bond issue. Is this the scientific method they are talking about? If we talk about this country's economic policy, day by day we see the depreciation of the rupee, which is the reason why the price of goods are increasing. The government does not care. The IMF says that a dollar should be 200 rupees. Look at the amount of taxes that are there.
Leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna parliamentarian Anura Kumara Disanayaka states that JVP is the only party capable of rescuing Sri Lanka from its economic crisis through a revolutionary economic transformation. He made this statement at the May Day rally organised by the JVP today.
Janata Vimukti Peramuna began their May Day parade at Campbell Grounds and marched towards their rally venue at BRC Grounds along the baseline road. The rally themed social justice, people's governance to build national unity was held under the patronage of their party leader, parliamentarian Anura Kumara Dissanayaka. Representatives of trade unions, of farmers, students, workers attached to the JVP also joined the parade. While marching towards the BRC grounds, JVP's propaganda secretary, parliamentarian Vijita Herath, requested the working class of the country to join the JVP's fight for justice in the country.
We are marching towards Sinhala, Tamil, Muslim, all together. This is the symbol of national unity. This is the struggle of working class of Sri Lanka. Together with the international working class, we are celebrating our May Day rally, May Day march. We say to all working class of Sri Lanka to fight with us for justice in Sri Lanka.
The rally began around 3:30 in the evening.
This is the weakest government ever to rule the country. The hierarchy of the government, including ministers, the Prime Minister and the President, are unstable. President is unaware of the Prime Minister's deeds and so is the Prime Minister. Both the President and the Prime Minister are obstructing each other. In such a backdrop, the public start to compliment the fact that having a dictator is better to rule the country. In today's climate, the government has even failed in food production. Will the Prime Minister produce cars in such a backdrop? He should first provide us with big onions. Even if this government ruled this country for 50 more years, the economy of the country will not progress even an inch. We're faced with a struggle. We can only find a solution for this economic crisis by a revolutionary transformation, and it is only possible with the JVP.
Meanwhile, many other political parties and trade unions also organized their rallies for May Day.
The May Day parade of the Jatika Hela Urumaya commenced from the National Library and reached towards its destination at the new town hall.
We can't let governments carry on as how it used to be with nepotism. In 2020, Jatika Hela Urumaya will take the country forward with a new generation.
Meanwhile, Democratic People's Front held its May Day rally and parade in Kochikade today under the patronage of its leader, Minister Manu Ganesan.
We hear that the UNP and the SLFP are going to sign a new agreement on how to continue the government in the next 18 months. Please do so, Mr. President and Prime Minister, but make sure to listen to our views on moving forward as well.
The May Day rally and parade of the Ceylon Workers' Congress was held in Noor earlier today under the patronage of its leader, parliamentarian Arumugam Thundaman. Meanwhile, the Tamil Progressive Alliance commenced its May Day parade from the bus stand in Talavakele. The main rally was held in the Urban Council ground in Lindula. Meanwhile, a heated argument was erupted in Talavakele between supporters of the Ceylon Workers' Congress and Tamil Progressive Alliance. The situation then led where the two parties engaged in a brawl. Riot police was deployed to control the situation.
Campaign for Free and Fair Elections says if the government fails to deal with the rising corruption and bribery within the country, the flow of foreign investments into Sri Lanka may decline in the near future. Speaking on the recent incident of bribery involving the President's Chief of Staff, Dr. I.H.K. Mahanama, and former Chairman of the State Timber Corporation, P. Dissanayaka, Executive Director of Cafe Kirthi Tenukundi, hailed the efforts of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption in arresting those culprits.
We have seen a very calculated and sophisticated operation to grab money from the investors who are coming to Sri Lanka. And Kantale sugar industry record, we should salute the investigators at this yearbook. They have shown their professionalism. The two culprits who was arrested during the last 12 months continuously plotted and mastered to get some ransom money from these Kantale investor who was given land but not the premises and the equipments to operate their sugar project. And in the other hand, he was continuously threatened in 6 different occasions by these two officials. All the information has now revealed, and now it is up to the law enforcement officials and the judiciary of the country. The whole country is waiting for justice. And if we cannot manage with these sort of corruption accusations and investigations, we don't think foreign direct investments will come to Sri Lanka in near future.
Former Minister of Social Empowerment and Welfare S.B. Dissanayake, who was behind the Samurdhi movement from its inception, says that the move to take over the Samurdhi Bank by the central bank is not acceptable. He made this remark today, reacting to the statement by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday to monitor the Samurdhi Bank by the central bank.
The Department of Samurdhi Development has been set up under a Government Act. The Act says that it will not be supervised by the central bank. Further, the Act was passed by a two-thirds majority in Parliament as instructed by the Supreme Court. If we are to change it, again we need the two-thirds majority in Parliament. We will never allow for it to be changed. Even the budget of 2016 had some efforts to take the Samurdhi funds under the central bank. We did not allow it. Although Prime Minister says so, it cannot be done. Samurdhi Bank network has an amount of around 200 billion rupees. The government has taken the decision just eyeing that sum of money.
Meanwhile, speaking to First at 9, former secretary to then Samurdhi Ministry as well as one-time Director General of the Samurdhi Authority says that the government's move will bring benefit for all the parties.
As far as Samurdhi Bank is concerned, if you can get more and more involvement with the central bank, it's much better for the bank to improve our quality and safety and everything. At the same time, already in our management committee, there are two reps representing Finance Ministry as well as the central bank that is covered. They are involving. In addition to that, only issue is according to the Divinagum Act, 2013 number 1 Act. Section 35 says there is no requirement of Banking Act requirement and financial control regulation requirement for the Samurdhi Bank. So, if the Prime Minister is serious about that, maybe he has to do an amendment for the Act. I think that is the bottleneck. Other than that, I think getting supervision from the central bank is much better, and I think it's a good thing.
The 6 suspects arrested in connection with the theft of the Golden Peacock Award belonging to late Dr. Lester James Pieris have been remanded until the 21st of May. According to police, the award was stolen by a group of thieves who have been robbing valuable items from renowned and wealthy individuals in the past.
The Golden Peacock Lifetime Achievement Award received by veteran filmmaker Dr. Lester James Pieris at the New Delhi Film Festival in 2000 was reported missing from his home on the day of his funeral, which was the 2nd of May. It was later found inside a private bus plying the Kaduvela-Kollupitiya route 177 and handed over to police last Saturday. Police were able to identify the suspects via CCTV footage obtained in the area.
If these suspects are proven guilty before court, they should be given the maximum punishment within the legal framework. This case will not be filed at the Magistrates' Court, and we are seeking the instructions from the Attorney General to file the case before High Court.
The Department of Meteorology issued yet another heat advisory today to the areas of northern, eastern and Uva provinces and in Polonnaruwa districts. Referring to the heat index, the advisory states that heat levels in some parts of these areas may reach the level of caution. With that, let's now take a look at other news making news across Sri Lanka.
An 11-year-old child was killed in a motor accident in Talgaskanda, Puttlam. CCTV footage in the area captured a speeding van run over the child, who was with his sibling at the time. A fire erupted at a shop located at the Bulutota junction along Suryakanda Road in Polonna. According to police, the owner of the shop sustained severe injuries in the incident and is currently receiving treatment in hospital. The incident was captured on a CCTV camera. Residents have been severely inconvenienced as a by-road connecting Avisavella Talduwa and Sitawaka College Road in Talduwa has not been renovated after a pipeline work was carried out in 2016. As a result, the 1-kilometer road, which is used by residents as well as students from 2 schools in the area, are faced with difficulties and charged that despite informing authorities, no action has been taken in this regard. Residents from Diabaduma in Polonnaruwa carried out a protest following an elephant attack which killed an individual in the area. Protesters charged that wildlife officers should be held accountable as steps were not taken to protect the residents from such attacks despite informing them of the risk. The victim was a 59-year-old and a father of 3.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Minister of Plantation Industries Navin Disanayake says that even though the country's rubber industry continues to climb up the global value chain, less focus has been given to provide a sustainable solution to enhance the standards of living for small-scale rubber producers in the country. He made this remark at the World Rubber Summit 2018 held in Colombo today. The World Rubber Summit 2018 was held in Colombo under the theme Breaking Barriers Towards Sustainable Growth. The summit is organized by the Ministry of Plantation Industry and the International Rubber Study Group. The event saw the participation of over 300 representatives from 37 countries. Minister of Plantation Industries Navin Disanayake, who was the chief guest of the event, delivered the keynote address.
We have, over a period of 25 years, become a major producer of value-added rubber products in this part of the region. Therefore, it is of happiness to me that we have moved up the value chain, but it is of great sadness to me that we are not able to give the income support for the small rubber sector holders in Sri Lanka. There are certain realities with political dimensions that I am concerned with. One such reality is that the poor and vulnerable small rubber farmers are not going to listen with admiration to a policy that compels them to remain poor to keep sustaining global value chains. Participants in a sustainable rubber industry must enjoy increasingly improved standards of living in a sustained manner, in tandem with the rest of the population. Bottom of the value pyramid must be our main focus. Sustainability is not about supporting an inefficient producer. It is about developing a self-sustaining generation of producers who can weather the market on their own with adequate resilience. Ideally, there should be no subsidies, no incentives, and no bureaucracy overlooking the affairs of the rubber production. I am aware that Brazil is moving on in that direction, away from unproductive populism. But at the moment in Sri Lanka, this is difficult to do because of the poverty trap that we are faced with. Rubber is a global value chain with huge consumer value. This well-established industry itself must take over its future destiny, governance and well-being of its actors, whether they are smallholders or corporate giants.
EU Commissioner for Economic and Financial Affairs Pierre Moscovici says Eurozone economic growth will slow this year and next, following a peak expansion last year, underlying the need to quickly implement Eurozone reforms while the expansion is still strong. Speaking at an event this Friday, the Commission forecast that economic growth in the 19 countries sharing the euro would slow down to 2% next year, from 2.3% expected this year after it peaked at 2.4% in 2017.
Now is not the time to sit back and relax. With supply set to become gradually more constrained over the coming years and external risks having increased, it is more important than ever to swiftly implement policies that increase our growth potential. This is the main challenge for the future. An escalation of trade protectionism presents an unambiguously negative risk to the global economic and trade outlook. It could also trigger market corrections to which Europe would not remain immune in case. This is why, in the view of this Commission, protectionism must not become the new normal.
Key crude oil prices rose by 1% to their highest level since late 2014 today, pushed up by a deepening economic crisis in Venezuela and a looming decision on whether the United States will reimpose sanctions against Iran. Oil futures were at $75.57 per barrel, up 70 cents or 0.9% from their last close. Early in the session, they touched their highest since November 2014 at $75.89 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 70 cents or 1% to $70.42 US dollar per barrel. Today was the first time since November 2014 that WTI had climbed about $70 US dollars per barrel. Meanwhile, China's Shanghai crude oil futures, launched in March, broke their dollar-converted record high of $71 US dollars and 32 cents per barrel by rising as far as $72 US dollars and 54 cents today. Open interest and traded volumes for Shanghai crude also hit a fresh record today.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
On international news tonight, the world had their attention focused mainly on Russia today, with Vladimir Putin swearing in for a fourth term as the president of Russia. Putin, who has been in power for 18 years, whether as president or prime minister, pledged to harness the country's talents to achieve breakthroughs. Putin won a landslide re-election victory in March and extended his grip over the world's largest country for another 6 years until 2024, making him the longest-serving leader since Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin.
The lavish inauguration ceremony started with Russian TV giving the public a rare insight into the president's office. The inauguration ceremony was also used to show Russia's technological and industrial capabilities by unveiling the new state car for top officials. The 65-year-old Vladimir Putin left his office in the brand new limousine that developed by Russia, which replaces the German automobiles previously favored by the presidential administration. The central part of the ceremony was held in a hall in the Kremlin Grand Palace, where Vladimir Putin took his oath for a fourth term as the president of Russia before 5,000 guests. As per constitution, the Russian government headed by Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev resigned today, although its members will temporarily retain their positions until a new cabinet is being formed. Putin will have 2 weeks to recommend a candidate for the position of Prime Minister, who will then be tasked with forming a new government. Putin won a landslide re-election victory in March, under reports of widespread irregularities by some international observers. Country's best-known opposition leader Alexei Navalny was barred from standing against Putin on grounds of a conviction from embezzlement, which he denies and alleges was politically motivated. On Saturday, Navalny was arrested briefly as he tried to join an unauthorized protest rally in Moscow under the slogan, "He is not our Tsar."
The eruption of the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii has destroyed 26 homes and is threatening hundreds more, with new fissures opening overnight yesterday. Nearly 2,000 people have so far been evacuated, and officials warn that sulfur dioxide gas emitting from the volcano threatened to harm anyone who stayed in the residential area. A new fissure spewed lava up to 230 feet into the air of the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii, and new cracks opened on a highway in the Leilani Estate area, about a dozen miles from where the volcano erupted on Thursday. Around 1,500 homes have been evacuated in a small rural area since fissures began spewing out steam, lava and sulfur dioxide, which can be life-threatening in high levels. The southeast corner of the island was rocked by a 6.9 tremor on Friday, the strongest since 1975, and more earthquakes and eruptions were forecast, perhaps for months to come. Meanwhile, in tennis, Richard Gasquet progressed into the second round at the Madrid Open, defeating Thomas Berdych in straight sets yesterday. Speaking at a media briefing, Juan Martín del Potro made his thoughts clear, saying that he is keen to surprise Rafael Nadal at the Madrid Open as he makes his return to ATP Tour action.
Frenchman Richard Gasquet overpowered Czech Republic's Thomas Berdych with a 6-4, 6-2. Gasquet will face the winner of the match between Karen Khachanov and Dusan Lajovic in the next round. In the meantime, Juan Martín del Potro, speaking at a media briefing ahead of his doubles match alongside Dominic Thiem, made it clear that while Rafael Nadal may be the king of clay, he will be ready to surprise the world number one should they face off in the tournament.
Yeah, he's still been the king of clay. The Rafa matches was too early in Argentina, so I couldn't watch. I expect to Rafa wins this tournament as well, Rome and Paris, of course. But we are here trying to beat him and to doing well, and good results playing against him could be a surprise. So we are looking forward to surprise him.
Up next is your weather forecast with Shinla Fernando at the Derana Weather Center.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Derana 24/7.
A very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Your temperatures for tomorrow are to vary between 21 and 33 degrees Celsius, with the highest temperatures expected in Mullaitivu. Well, looking at the map, a low pressure zone is set to develop along the coastal belt from Mannar to Galle over the next 24 hours. Well, no signs of a sunny weather reported as many areas of the island, including Jaffna, Mannar, Vaunia, Kandy, Colombo, Galle and Matara as well as Hambantota will experience showers, with thunder showers also expected. That's all we have from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
Before we go tonight, we'd like to take you to the Gampaha Botanical Gardens, also known as Hinaratgoda Botanical Garden, situated in the suburb of Gampaha. Established in 1876 by the British to conduct experiments on economically profitable plants such as rubber, the botanical garden expands over a land of 43 acres. The first imported rubber tree to Sri Lanka was also planted in the garden. Thank you for watching us and have a pleasant evening.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.